Welcome to Cyborg 86. Today we're going to drive these X43s out in the wild. Don't they look good together? This is the modified up front, got the stock in the rear. I wanted to get some identical side-by-side shots, but I had a little trouble with one of the vehicles. Lost a wheel nut, so I had to run them separate, one at a time. So they may not line up exactly side by side, but hopefully you can still get a feel for the difference it made for this modification on this little black one. I'm mostly done with the updates on this now. I'll probably do a little tweaking and then move on to another project, but I do have several ideas to improve this. I think I can tweak the chassis just a little bit more, get it to line up with the body better. And I also think maybe I could add a little tungsten weight up front because, boy, this thing is a lot lighter. The lighter weight also affects the shocks. I had adjusted it by choosing smaller springs and then cutting them in half, but they're still just too stiff and won't compress. So I'll have to see what else I can come up with for the shock springs. I do find that it climbs a little bit better, but it's less forgiving, mainly because the springs just don't give you enough notice before it does finally flip. Side hill is definitely better. The center of gravity is much lower, and it's much lighter rig, and any weight that is in there is lower down. I do plan on making at least one more video on this. I'll recap the build and give you some specs like the weight bias and the overall weight. So you can watch for that in the future, and if you haven't subscribed, now might be a good time. I did find that the $4 brush speed control I put in here is not as smooth as the stock. Remember that the stock is a circuit board, and it includes the lights and the receiver and all that. But what I put in here was just a cheap speed controller, and it fits, but it's definitely not as smooth, especially on start. It wants to jerk a little bit. If you watch here on the side hill, you'll see that I get plenty of notice as the one on the left just leans, the stock unit, but the modified unit just kind of goes all at once. Now maybe that's the height difference too, because it's harder to tell when it's leaning so hard. But boy, when it decides to flip, it just goes. Looks like I also need to improve the body mount. Check out this angle here. Can't do this with the stock unit, that's for sure. On second thought, I guess you can do this with the stock unit. Well, I appreciate your watching. Hope you enjoyed this project. I actually have another one with the X43. You might recall from a prior video that I wanted to put brushless in it. And yep, I'm gonna do it. Got a better brushless motor with more appropriate speed, so I think I can make that work. Stay tuned and happy crawling.